Now, I should be live on the stream now. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Arcaniax. For the ones that don't know me, I make plugins, obviously. And I'm currently going to showcase my Patron exclusive plugin, and how to use one of, like, the more advanced tools, and a couple of the easier ones, obviously, but... So this is basically what this Masterclass is for. Hello, Mum. Apparently. I don't know. Okay. So I'm gonna put in the event broadcast a link to all the commands I'm gonna use today. It's masterclass.arcaniax.net. You should be able to get it there. I'll also post it in Twitch chat. Hello, Jiggerbuff. Welcome to the stream. And you should be able to follow from there, hopefully. Let me grab it myself, because I'll need it, for sure. So, there are some links on there. You can go to the wiki. All the information should be there. You can even suggest your own ideas for tools. Whatever. You can also join my Discord if you feel like that. My mods are going to be scared, because there's going to be a lot of people joining, probably. So that's good. And then there's also a link to my Patron. Arceon is $15 a month, or you can always just pledge for 1 month and get everything that I have made so far. So basically you would be paying for updates. You can also just pledge for 1 month, come back a couple months later if you feel like it, and get all the updates you want. There's a couple of general commands that you can do. If you do //wiki, it should give you the link to the wiki as well. So you can do that in game. It should also give you the links to the other wikis, which might be quite useful. I just thought it would be useful to have. Okay, and then //suggest gives you the link to my feedback page, which you can upvote ideas on, and you can also create new ones. Okay, so what we're today going to start with is Loft. You can always ask questions in chat if you want. I'll try to notice them, but no promises. So with Loft, what you got to keep in mind, so Loft has a tool which uses the paper, or well, the paper is a tool for Loft. Okay, so what you need to do, or what you need to keep in mind, is that you have to go from one direction to the other direction. And each time you select a Loft, you have to go from the same direction. Because otherwise it will flip around itself, which wouldn't be optimal. And basically, if you want to make a Loft shape, you have to imagine your shape out of multiple curves, lines, or points. So for example, an example here is there's a curve, there's a line, there's a point. You don't need the actual points. You can also click in mid-air and do some points like this. I may have twisted this around itself, but that's okay. So the basic commands I'm going to use now. You can also use C, or you can use clear. Go for it, Iron. So this is basically used for smooth shapes usually. So for sails, boat shapes, sometimes even terrain. It really depends what you want to use it for. A lot of people use it for organics because you can create really smooth shapes very, very quickly. So basically with the paper, so for example, this shape is consistent of 2 lines, so we'll be connecting these 2 lines together. So if you, here's the things for the colors. So we'll left click this, and we'll right click this one. And then we have our first line there, or our first frame as the plugin calls it. And then we can left click here again. Let me actually reduce my speed because I'm going a little bit too fast to my likings. And if we right click here, we get this first shape that we can make. Now what you need to do, or what you can do technically, to set this shape fully, you need to do Loft set, and then your pattern. If you do this, you can see all the flags, you can see whatever you want. So if we do Loft set stone, this will basically turn into one smooth shape of stone. Now, there's a couple of simple flags that you can use with it. For example, Minus P doesn't really do anything here, but we have minus O, which creates the outline of the loft, which can be useful for some kind of applications. I'm not entirely sure, but people do some crazy stuff with it that I didn't even expect to be possible, so who knows. Minus D stacks it down to the nearest block it finds, and it just stacks it down to the bottom. So you can use this for terrain using this way, if you like it like that. Okay. Let me scroll down on the thing. What you can also do is you can use slabs. So if you do loft set slab 3, for example, which is cobblestone, you can see a very, very smooth shape here. It basically like calculates if it's the top part of the block or the bottom part, and if it's like in the center, it will place both. So you can get some really smooth, organic kind of shapes. Now, if we move over to the next one, also, I'll also explain this. So if you do loft R, it removes the last point you selected. If you use loft R minus C, it removes the closest point to you currently. So, and loft clear gets rid of it all. And then basically this is the more advanced way of doing it. So as again, go from the same side each time, because otherwise it will flip around itself. I can show you actually what it looks like if you would flip it around. So if you, for example, left click here and then right click here, it like flips around itself, which wouldn't be optimal. So we can do loft R 2 times, and then we can reselect it. So if you misselect something, you can always use the R instead of having to clear your entire thing. And if you left click here again, it will create one smooth shape between those points. So what you really gotta do is imagine your shape with curves, lines, and points. So like you can make wings, you can make sails, and you have pretty much full control of what you want to do. So if we set this to stone again, like this, you get one really smooth shape. Now, what you can do as well, which not a lot of people use yet, but it's pretty cool. It's minus P. It's a P flag, and it makes it low poly. So instead of creating curves between all the points that it calculates, it just draws lines between the points. So you will get a more like low poly kind of effect. Obviously, it works together with the other flags. So if you do PO, it does the outline. If you do, you can even like combine them all pretty much. Like that's a stack down one. You can even like just make it slabs if you really feel like it. Like they should all work together perfectly fine. And you can even like get some smooth like walls or whatever. I'm not entirely sure why you use it for walls like this, but who knows. There we go. Now, I think I'm done here with this one. I'll also just set it to slab 3 like this, so you can see how smooth the shape would be in a curve with slabs, which is pretty cool. Okay, now, one other thing you can do with Loft, if you want to make like a skirt or something, right? Let me actually clear this shape first. There we go. Yeah, the particles are great. I'm glad I added those, because then you can just preview the shape before like screwing over things. So you left, right, right. It's very similar to like a convex selection. So you left click to create a frame or like a new curve. You right click to add a point to it. There you go. So now we have these points already. So we're just going to go around it and it will create like one smooth shape all around. Now, one thing that kind of bothered people at the start of this, using this plugin, if you connect it like this, let me just show it as an example. It will not really smoothly connect them together because like it starts and stops here. So what I did, Loft is available on BR, yeah, for members only. Set stone. So you will see that there's kind of a sharp edge here. Now, to get rid of that, what you can do So let me just remove the last frame, like the last 3 points. There we go. If you use loft set stone -C stands for connect in this case. It connects like basically everything together in one smooth fashion. So you can make a skirt out of one shape instantly. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. So that's it about Loft. Are there any questions about Loft? You should also be able to plot auto here on this Masterclass server right now. And you can test Loft out if you want. You can also left and right click mid-air, as I said before, which can be useful if you don't want to place points first. Okay. Any questions, or should I keep going? Because that's pretty much it for Loft at this point. Okay. How big is the Loft? David, don't troll, please. It's already stressful enough. Okay. So, what I'm going to explain next is Revolve, which is basically rotating a selection around a point. Let me actually scroll down. So, if you select it like this, and then you have to stand in the center of where you want it to rotate around. And as you can see with this arrow, that's the direction it will go in. If we do //ref 1000, it does it 1,000 times around us, and it will just create like one smooth circle, basically. Now, another thing you can do with it is, for example, 0 to 180. So like a full circle is 360. You can only do like this, for example, which is pretty cool. Another thing you can do is, for example, start it later on, like 90 to 180. It does get rid of the other one, and it sets it to air if you do that, so just something to keep in mind. Now, another thing you can do is, let's turn this to 5, right? It just sets 5 of them, so you can just like go it around. Now, another feature that I implemented with this tool is -P as well. And it makes it a regular polygon, so you can make like, this is not a hexagon, this is a pentagon. If you want to have a, so the 5 is basically the amount of sides you will have in your shape. So you can be like 7 or 3 even, something like that. So you can get like a triangle. Or if you want to go fancy, you could go, I think it was, this is not in the list, but 6 and then 0 to 720. Oh wait, no, not. I think I need to do 7. There you go. Some fancier shape. I don't know what people are going to do with it, but that's fine. I'm also going to copy a command which will create a spiral. Yeah, the -P is quite cool. So basically what I'm doing here is, so this is the amount of like times it will draw it. 0 is the start, 360 times 4 means it goes around 4 times, and then 50 is the height increase. So what you can do is you can just make a spiral like this, if you feel like making one of those. Could be good for like a parking or whatever people use it for. Yes, you can. They should automatically do it for far away. So now if we do, for example, 20, and we can also do -P in combination, it will do like a low pulley spiral. Not sure how useful that would be, but I feel like it might be useful for somebody. Who knows? Okay, now we're gonna go to Convex Elections. If you haven't used these before, it's basically, you can set some weird selections with it and some other stuff. A lot of people use this for //curve. So for example, I'll use the normal roll edit one. So with Convex Selection, you can set multiple points and it will basically create a curve between those. Now, if you set this to stone, it will do some weird shit. Because convex is weird and don't use it like this. But if you do //curve stone, it will create a curve between those points in stone. Now, what world it doesn't have is, for example, a spike tool, right? So let's make a spike instead of curve. And with spike, it allows you to set a starting size and an end size, and even a middle size if you want to. So let's start with size 2, and let's go to size 8. And then you basically start here from size 2, and it goes bigger. And then you have your spike, or horn, or whatever you want to call it. Now, if we want to have it bigger in the middle, we just add a number to it. It only supports up to 3, just something to keep in mind. But now this goes from size 2 to size 15 to size 2 again. Now, another thing you can do with this is if you have size 2 to size 5, for example, so you can use this for 3 branches. But another flag I added to it is -n, and it gives it an extra noise to the shape, and it will make it a more organic shape. So if you want to have a tentacle or a 3 branch, again, to have it in a more organical way to like make it grow. It just adds like a simplex displacement to it. So yeah, there's a curve used for trees. You can use it for trees, yeah. There you go. Bone spiders. There's a lot of things you can use it for, yeah. This convex supports line. A straight line. Loft can do that. Wait, let me show you. So Loft can do this actually. If you just select points with Loft, right? So if you have 3 frames like this, you can do Loft set stone -p. There you go. That's something you can use for that. Let me just quickly clear my Loft. There you go. Now, another tool that I have is road, and it will basically just create a road. So if we do road stone, and then like 5 is the width and 1 is the height. Is there a limit of amounts of different widths in the spike tool? It's up to 3. I could technically add more, but it's not really dynamic in that way. And this is the road tool, for example. The road tool basically stacks it down, so the top selection will always be where the top of the road is. So you can make like a road shape quite easily. Now, another thing that this supports, which is very cool, is slabs again. Slabs are literally a godsend for me, because it makes the tools even more impressive than they actually are. Because it's usually pretty simple to add slab support to things. So basically, now you have an insanely smooth road for your builds, if you want it like that. It also works with other slabs, by the way, so if you do like wood slab, that should work too, as it does. There you go. Now, that's it for roads. Road also supports -n. It doesn't always look as great, but it makes the road more organic. But it like goes off from the point sometimes, depending on how your simplex noise is generated. So you might have to do it a couple of times to get the desired result. Okay. Now, the next tool I'm going to explain is roof. It basically works very similarly to road and spike. It's also with the simplex stuff. So in a nutshell, it's just /roof or /roof. So we can do stone, and then the width, let's say 20. This is a roof. It doesn't look that great because I didn't actually like add a height, so it took the default height. So let me use the example command. So if we do 1010, you can create a curved roof very easily. One side note as well, roof, spike, and road also support cuboid selections. If you just want it between 2 points, you can do that. Just so you know. So you don't necessarily need 3 points or more. I couldn't do it with convex, because convex requires at least 3 points. Okay. So this is the roof. And then one thing I added with roof as well is obviously you can stack it down like the other ones if you want to make an instant building, technically. Low poly roof option. Currently there isn't. I can add it though. if that helps. Because that would actually be very nice. Now, one thing I added to roof as well is if we do 6 height and a minus B, what B does is it bevels the start and the end. So it's like a different kind of roof, I guess. But I think it's still pretty useful. Also, Hercules in the Twitch chat. Is rotation point always on the player's position? For Revolve it is, yes. Oh yeah, okay. We're tank up. Yeah, okay. Thanks for replying that. Aaron, what command does let do 3 selections? It does. Oh, it's just with the paper. It's a custom selection mode. It's not part of Fawe. It's just my own selection mode that I made, which allows you to create multiple selections. Because that's what Fawe was actually lacking, in my opinion. Okay, so if we go back to cell cuboid, and we still have a lot of time left over. That's sweet. Alright, so now I'm gonna show some cool masks that are in Arceon. So if we select this yellow bit here, right, like that, it's all selected. And if we do replace hashtag below concrete, also it might be a little bit weird that I don't use the numbers for it, but I can't or might like remember those from my head at all times. So below 5 will basically check if there is a block which is from 0 to 5 blocks away above it, you can like do it like this. So it's very nice if you want to like draw out like some sort of shape above and you want it to stack all the way through. And then you can also do it above concrete, and let's do 6 for example, and make it wool. You can do it like this. Now another thing you can do, what is this again? This is terracotta. Okay, that's 159. Okay, so what you can do as well is you can combine both. It's a little bit more complicated, but it's not impossible, right? So let's not add a number this time, and we do end below concrete. So if it's below concrete and above 159, which is terracotta, then, well, my selection didn't go all the way, obviously, but then it does the blocks in between those two. Now, another thing you can do as well, if you go to F3, you can also, there's a Y one. I don't think it's in a list that I added, but what you can do as well, just quickly, because I have time, I can add it to the list later. If we do, like, for example, Y height 5 to Y height 10. Oh, wait, is it just Y? Okay, it didn't do anything. Give me a second. Say 50. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. So because my selection didn't expand all the way down, you can do this too. This is a command, by the way, as you can check in Twitch chat, hopefully. There you go. Now, what's next is smear. I'm not sure if any of you have used smear before. It's a very recent tool, and it's very weird, I guess. So, for example, what we can do is smear 5, or let's just use a normal smear. So this normal smear is smear 1, technically, and it just extends the last block of your shape forward. So you can, like, make a shape more thickly, or, like, in a thicker way. So if you do smear 5, it extends it 5 that way. It's kind of like stack, but it's different. You can also do it on these angles, obviously, just like stack, and you can create some cool stuff. You can also just do it down, kind of like stack, I guess, but your shape, like your selection, doesn't have to be that specific. Okay, so this one is kind of special. Let me just copy the command. Blend is a pattern that I added which blends colors together. So if we just put this on this thing, we can we have white and black here, right? It has a very limited palette, but it can make transitions between colors more smoothly. So you can just like do it like this, and it just grabs the average color around the blocks from it. So it's basically like finding the blocks in between, and it like shades it in some sort of way. And it chooses the closest color. It's using the same technique as darken and lighting from Pulley, yes. Okay, so we have that one. Then we have Ellie's little duck for good luck. Oh, it doesn't even work. Set. Okay, so what I'm going to show next is very similar to type replace. So let me just show what type replace is. So if we do +1, +2, this shape fully consists of slabs. I can even add some fences, some fill blocks, doesn't really matter. So type replace basically changes one type to another type. So for example, this is oak, right? So we click on oak, and then we, for example, change it to cobble. And now it's all cobble, and these are cobble walls. So if you have a specific type of block you want to change, you can use that. Now, I recently added a mask for it, and also a pattern. So what you can do is you can use brush, sphere, type, cobble. So it will basically replace all the block types to cobble. And it keeps in mind if it's a slab, stair, or, for example, fence or wall and stuff like that. You can like sort of texture it in a cool way. It also works on fill blocks, obviously. But it's mostly used for slabs and stuff, obviously. Let me just undo this slightly. I don't care if that other part stays. You can also mask specific ones if you do like let me do undo 5. There we go. So if you have this, right, and you do mask, type, cobble, right, it will only mask the cobble, and if we then change the brush to, like, for example, jungle, then it should only paint on the cobble, which is pretty cool, I think. And you can, like, make sure you don't mess up this bit. It will only, like, change the ones which it knows the type from, which is pretty nice. Okay, so that's it for the masks and stuff like that. Now, the next bits are going to be a little bit more on the spot, and me just doing... Is that Ellie's plot? I want to know. Plot info. Of course it is. I knew it. That's nice. Duck with a loft. Yeah, be sure to try out Loft if you have any questions about Loft, because probably Loft is the most difficult tool to get used to, just because it's so advanced. So what I'm going to show next, we go back to cell cuboids, and we'll select this big area here. There we go. Okay. And then Terrigen. Oh. Dart. This is awkward. I'm not sure if that's intentional. I hope not. Do I have access to it now? No. Is Dart here? I guess I can always switch to the boulder brush for now. Oof. Dart is gone, I guess. Who knows? Dart's panic. Fixed. Oh, thanks. Alright, so now this Terrigen. I put a couple of commands in chat, but it doesn't really matter. So let's do help Terrigen, or TGA as a shortcut. There's a lot of like flags. It has the duck has a cape now. Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? So basically what you can do is just TG, and then you can click on one of these. So let's, for example, make a fractal noise and press enter. It basically generates terrains based on noise. So it's kind of like how Minecraft generates a terrain in a way. It has a lot of modifiers. So let's, if you want to make it really cool, it even supports snow layers if you want to create some super smooth terrain, which is pretty dope. Or even if you want, I hope this doesn't screw over my plot, water. I even made it support water. I'm not sure what people are going to do with this, but it's pretty useful. For water, I would actually suggest using turbulence. So let's just use turp water. Oh wait, no, it doesn't work. Has to be the full command. Turbulence is a different kind of noise as well. It's basically like a sort of displaced simplex. Which is a little bit weird to explain, but yeah. This is available in BR for members only, or you can support me on Patron and set up a local server with it, or add it to your own server. It actually is for members only. I'm sorry about that. Now, it should also support slabs. Of course it does. I remember well. If you want to make some slab terrain, I don't know why people would make slab terrain, but some people might want to do that. Who knows? Maybe when once 1.13 or 1.14 comes out, that might be more useful. Now, what you can do as well, you can change the height. So let's turn it into a different kind of slab. Is this a good slab? No, this is not a good slab. This is very noisy. Let me just get... Does anyone know the one for quartz? I'll probably find it before anyone else tells me. Okay, this one. So what you can do as well is... I don't think I actually added it in my list. Well, actually I do. But it's like just general knowledge anyway. So what you can do is -V, and it will like round off the edges, which can be pretty useful if you want to merge it with other terrain. It basically adds like a vignette to the thing, to the shape. Now, what you can do as well, right, is change the height of the actual thing. So let's say we want to have it higher up. It will basically be like higher mountains. Either you can also, which works really nicely in the next selection, let's say 10, which is lower than the default one. And then let's zoom in 5. You can get really smooth base terrain to start off your build from, which can be useful for some people. So you don't have to start off from like flat terrain completely. So let's actually change the zoom to like 2 or so. That might look a little bit better. Some people might find this useful. I don't know. Go for it if you do think it's useful. There's a lot of different like generation-based things. Some of the cool ones, for example, is Euclidean. It is basically like a cell-based noise, and the height is based on a simplex. So you basically get like a layered kind of terrain, which is pretty neat. Then another cool one is, for example, Pulley, which is also based on cells, but it's more like the ridges then, technically speaking, of the cells. Which gives you kind of special terrain. Low Pulley, low height Pulley is also nice water. Yeah, that's a good example, yeah. It's more like mountains, that's true. Now, there's a couple of other ones. Electric, slightly different compared to... It's more noisy compared to Fractal. It also has some weird artifacts sometimes, like these things. But those are technically better for like mosques and stuff like that. Now, another thing you can do is sell sphere. So it's a different selection mode from World Edit. And let's make a spherical selection. So let's make like this. And what we can do, right, is we can do a Terragen of Pulley and do -V. And what it will do it will still support the vignette thingy, but in a circle base, which might be useful for some build cases. If you want to lower the height a little bit, that's also possible. You would just have to put like stone and then let's say 20. And that would be less high. It's still pretty high though, but let me change it to 10. For example, like this. If you want to have like a build plate for your organic or something, you can use this very easily without having to waste too much time. There we go. Let's go back to cuboid. Oh. There we go. Now, there's a couple more things I can show. I'll just take another brush out there. So one of the most popular tools from my plugin is the boulder brush. Does V support edge and terrain, or does it make it flat? It's just for the terrain selection. So technically it would go under the other terrain. So it should work, technically. So if you have terrain next to it, and the selection is big enough to go like into it, then it will like merge into it, kind of. It might not make the best selection, so you might have to like smooth that out a little bit, but it sort of works. So let's get a boulder brush, size 10. Oh, thanks, Dort. I'm not sure how easily you can fix that, but brush size 5 is a very, very low limitation. So let's say 5. So these are boulder brush. It's kind of hard to show off the low poly versions if the maximum size is 5, but they're basically like organical boulders, which are kind of like spheres, but in a more organic manner. So if you add it to terrain, like it will basically look a lot more smooth than normal. Not sure if Dort can fix it. Oh, that's quick. Did he already reload Fawi? Wait, let me just undo 2 more. And let me change it a little bit bigger. So if we have a brush of 10, sweet. They're basically a lot bigger, but they're still pretty cool. Dort is ever present. Yeah, seems like it. So you can create like some really quick terrain, which, I mean, I'm not a terrain expert, but I know a lot of terrain builders use this to their advantage. Oh yeah, I should probably get rid of my F3, sorry. Yes, I have an RTX 2080. But I use it mostly for CFTs because I want my CFTs to look good. Okay. Now, the next number in boulder, so let me just show the entire thing, is, so we have size, which we just used. The amount. The amount is technically the smoothness. So if it's 0, it will create low poly boulders, which can be useful for some people. Let's just scale it up, like, I'm not sure what max size he put it on. But it like creates some really low poly boulders. Now, let me just undo those 2. If we change it to like 2, they're already a lot smoother, but they're not insanely smooth. They're still kind of low poly. If we change it to 5, 5 is the maximum, it will be an insanely smooth boulder. There you go. Or kind of like a meteorite kind of thing. There you go. So that's the difference between the amount. Now, if we, let's say, 2555, the 2 last numbers, if we look back here, is the height and the width. So this command basically makes the length, so the first size command, 20, 5 smoothness, and then 5 width and 5 height. So what you can do with this is it basically creates like kind of pillars in the ground. Now, the advantage of this is that it actually keeps your rotation in mind too, which is pretty cool. Sorry if I confused you. Okay. And now, there is a flag specifically for this use case, is -A, which makes the boulders angled in your full direction. So you can make like spikes out of the ground, technically. Or like boulders that face you directly. Another thing you can do is use it with flat rocks. So if you just change 5, the width copies the height first. If the height is not there, it copies the size. So if you do this, and let's change that to 2, so it's a little bit less smoothed out. Okay, what am I doing here? Okay, so without the -A, it will create like low pulley-ish boulders which are flat, which might be useful for some kind of terrains like Asian or whatever. So you can create some cool stuff like that. Maybe mesa kind of terrain, who knows? And if you then use -A, it also rotates based on your rotation. So you can make like pancakes, as Mike said, but based on your direction, which can be useful for this kind of stuff, I guess. I'm not entirely sure who builds like this, but some people might. Can create some weird kind of stuff. But it can be pretty powerful if you know what to do with it. Let me just undo some of these. Let me just undo some more. There we go. Do 5, do 2. There we go. Now, what Boulder Brush also supports, as you might have seen in the command, so let me just quickly change back to that. The size, the height, and the width supports 2 values if you put a comma in between. So let's say if we do this, it will create a random value between the 5 and the 30. So you will get a randomly sized boulder each time you click, which might be nice for like just randomization in general. So that's a small one, that's a big one. Maybe not with this amount of like variability, but I'm sure other people can figure out. Like if we, for example, let's say 15, like the brush size will always vary a little bit, you know. And you can always undo if you don't like it, but you can like make a pile of rocks very quickly, like this. There we go. Okay, now that's pretty much it for the masterclass. So I should still have a fair amount of time for a Q&A if anyone wants me to explain anything inside of Arceon. Make sure to check the doc. There's a lot of links in there. Check the wiki. See if you have anything. I just changed it to Q&A on this stream as well, so people know on YouTube that the Q&A starts right now. There you go. Check the duck. Sure. Aw. That's adorable. The river tool. It's really hard to show the river tool here, to be honest, but I can quickly show how you can use it. Let me just quickly undo these ones. So let me quickly create a Terragen for this, to kind of showcase river tool. Let me go. Yeah, Terragen is great for getting a build started. FCC. Okay, let me select this, and let me just do like a Terragen. I think what would work the best for this? Let me just create a fractal with stone height, let's say 50. Yeah, I haven't shown the masks yet. If people want me to show the noise masks, I can do it quite easily. But they're not on the Google Doc. So what River technically does is it carves out terrain for you. You need to use a convex selection for it though. So if you use convex like this, +1, +2, so you basically like plot out the river shape. So you keep adding points to it like this, like that, and then you can do river, which has a lot of subcommands too. So let's say we do it made out of water. So we want a river made out of water, which is quite normal. Let's say the start size is 3, so that's the width, and the end side is, let's say, 10. It will create a river. It's not perfect, you need to fix it up a little bit, but it will carve out terrain like that to make your river out of nothing. Now, what you can do with it as well is you can give it a -n flag, which will make it more noisy, so there's like a lot more curves in the river going on. Now, another flag you can give it to is S, which will smooth out the gosh, what happened here? Which should smooth out the water, but I'm not sure if it actually did. Did I use the right flag? Yeah, it should do. Okay, it kind of does here, but I guess it's not really a good example because, like, I go from high to really low and then stay really low. But it basically smooths out it with the layers of water. Okay. It also supports snow, if you like that. If you want to have your smooth snow layers, it kind of does it here, but like it goes down so quickly that it can't even do that. Okay. It also supports lava too, if you like it. Lava rivers. I don't know who's gonna use them, but somebody might. Who knows? Okay. Are there any other tools you guys want me to explain that you guys know about, or I can show the masks technically. Let me just quickly undo this. There we go. Also, Terrigen doesn't keep in mind the height you selected at. The height you selected at, like the top height. Well, no, the bottom height of it will be where the Terrigen starts building up from. Where was that build that they showed in the stream? Which build specifically? This one? Oh, or the original one? Okay. So, what I can show as well is, for example, we can replace... for example, which one would make the most sense? Maybe Voronoi? Because somebody else used that in the last class, right? And let's set that to stone. So, oh. What did I do? Oh, wait, shit. Do I still... Yeah, I need to use the keyboard selection. Yeah. I was adding points to something when I shouldn't have been adding points. That's my bad. That was very confusing. I didn't like that. Oh, F basically makes the blocks fall down to the lowest portion. So it's kind of like how you would normally use sand. Like sand boulders or like sand spheres to like create terrain like that. You can use that for boulders too. So, okay, let me try this Voronoi thing again. There we go. So this is a Voronoi pattern. It's basically a lot of cells. The 2 is the zoomed in factor. If I put it to 1, it will be like a lot bigger, which is pretty cool. The jitter is the next number, if I remember correctly. So if we do jitter 20, the shapes will be... Wait, it's a percentage, I think. So if we do jitter 0, or is that the seeds? Or I think this is jitter 0, yeah. So that's the amount of like extra kind of offset there will be to each sort of cell. It's a little bit weird, but yeah. Anything else you guys want me to show, or any kind of noise mask or something? Does the type thing work for the wood, the 6-sided kinds? It doesn't work for logs just yet. I might add it, but it's like a very specific thing. And I don't think it would be too useful, just because of the fact that usually you wouldn't really consider logs as part of the oak type. Like, usually people build it with their own things. What software tools background knowledge do you use to make this plugin? So I currently use IntelliJ to code it, and it's all done through Spigot using the Faraway API that they have. And my background knowledge is I've done a fair amount of 3D modeling when I was in school, and I really enjoy it. So I kind of found my passion with creating generation-based tools, and most of these tools are actually like created of existing tools on the internet. For example, in Cinema 4D, you have Loft already as a tool, but I just imported it into Minecraft and made my own twist to it. Does type work with stairs? Yes, it does. It should do. Strip log, maybe. I might add that in the 1.13 version. That would make sense, yeah. The 1.13 version also supports waterlog blocks and stuff too. So it keeps a waterlog and stuff like that. Yeah. And I would highly recommend... it's pretty much done. It's pretty much Q&A right now. I can show some more commands if you look it up on the wiki and see which ones you like. Yeah. Smooth snow. That's a hard one to show off. Asking the difficult questions. So let me just quickly create a Terrigen again. I'm not entirely sure how well it's gonna work, but we'll have to see. Okay, so let me quickly create Terrigen. Let's say fractal one. Oh, you do like the permission? Oh. Well, it's a quite powerful tool, so I might, yeah, I don't know. Maybe ask Dart to give it to you. That's true, Decorator has a really good tutorial for it. So, Smooth Snow is weird. Wait, why is the usage like that? CC? What? God damn it, why is it bugged? So Smooth Snow, let me just go to my own wiki for the formatting. Apparently I broke something, but that's... I mean, Smooth Snow is a very sort of experimental tool still. So basically the smoothness is how smooth the snow will be compared to the terrain. So like, let's say we do like an SS7, which is just which distance it grabs the height from. And then just mask stone and make it snow. So that should make it smooth, technically. Yes. So there's like a little bit of bits it creates like that. I'm not entirely sure how useful it is on these kind of like on Terrigens, because like it's not really made for it. What was the command that was with river? Just / river. But you need to use a convex selection for it. And so what you can do with this as well is you can add a height to it. So let's say we add 5 height to all the snow. It basically overlays everything because like it's 5 higher than the current one, you know. Which can be pretty useful, I think. And if we use -O, it doesn't replace blocks, but if we replace this entire thing to snow, replace snow. Does that work? I don't think that works. Expand 100. Place now. There we go. So if we just do this, and let's say we have a height... Oh wait, where is it? There we go. So we have a height of 0 that gets added to it. It will cut away from the top, technically. I don't know how long this will take. If it will work at all. Might have to do... Oh god. Is this server lagging? I don't think it is. It might just take a while. Is there a command to set a frame point like +1 and +2? There is a Loft. Yeah, I think it might be slightly broke. Loft P to set a point, and Loft F to start a frame. So the left click is technically a a frame and the right is a point. So a point gets added to the frame. So that should hopefully help. I also added these see-through lines to it to sort of showcase where it will go and what kind of curve you're kind of expected to have. Wait, whose plot is this? There's so many ducks. Plot info. Oh wait, it's without a double slash. A spark, nice. It's a really cute duck and a cool flower. Super duck high lap. Another thing I can quickly show off as well, which doesn't take that much time because I still have like 5 minutes left-ish. Can I undo that? Yes, there we go. So another tool that I have is fonts. I'm not sure if... Oh. I guess I can't show it off, thanks Dart. I didn't put the actual Arceon folder with the plugin, but that's fine. It's not really a big deal. It basically allows you to create like these kinds of texts with custom fonts as well. As long as they're in the folder, it should work. Pedals were Loft, stem was Spike, and a bit of blend at where the stem meets the pedals. Oh, yeah, that's a really smart. I didn't even notice it. It was so like smooth that like it wasn't even noticeable. But in like a good way, because it's like a gradient that goes into it. And the pedals, yeah, it's a very small usage of Loft, but it can also save you a lot of time. There's a boat shape here. That's pretty cool. Attempted Loft with curtains. Honestly, that actually looks really good. Like, that actually looks like convincing curtains. It might take a little bit more practice of setting points, but I'm no, like, expert myself, honestly, on that case. But you got the shaping now, honestly. So that's really cool. You could also technically use the slabs, and it might look even smoother. But that's up to yourself, honestly. And there's a giant David Deco doing things, I think. I just winged it. Yeah. Might need to be a little bit more curvy. Could help, yeah. But yeah, capes are a really good example of Loft too. Can create some really smooth capes. It's very cute. Is that a moose? I think it is, right? Like your reindeer. I don't think it's reindeer. I think it's a moose. It's a cow. Oh. Highland cow. Oh. It's adorable. Okay, can I download this? I need this in my life. Can I actually select it? I don't know. Because I'm worried everything will be cleared after this. I don't think I would have permission to have plot download, but... Downloads. There we go. I got it. I stole it. There we go. Oh, I lagged out. There we go. Stole it with permission. We have like 1 hour left. Oh no. I think, yeah, it's a good place to kind of round it off, right? If there's any other questions, shoot. Well, don't actually shoot me, but like, shoot a question and let me know. Any support on Patron is always welcome. The reason that I can actually do this each month, like pretty much each month I make updates to this, and the reason I can do this is thanks to the patrons. What's your favorite pizza topping? Cheese, obviously. Who doesn't like a lot of cheese? I usually get like 4 cheeses. I have to get lucky with Chinese. Play a lot, David, and get some streaks. Fuck cheese. Wow. That's offensive. Did I miss anything in Twitch chat? I don't think so. Just keep in mind that you can use these tools for free on Mike's server, which is Builder's Refuge. If you don't know about Builder's Refuge, Shame on you, because it's a very great server. Some good shout outs for Mike. Bill's Refuge is a great server. I don't actually have a social security number, to be honest. I don't think they do that in Belgium. I could be wrong, though. Arcanic, can you show me what I missed after, like, block training? Oh, did you miss it? If you missed it, there will be a recording for it. So, it should be on Twitch and also on YouTube after this. I might upload it myself first, and I can just send it to... Oh, there he goes, Mike. Good luck, whoever gets that gifted Discord Nitro. No, but everything should be recorded, and all good. And it's literally 10 PM for me now, so sweet. That was pretty much the masterclass, not a panel. I am not. Yeah, I don't know. I think a masterclass for this kind of case is much better because then I can like literally showcase everything. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your view on abortion? How wait, what does 1 and 10 mean then? That's what I'm confused about. Chocolate fountain. What? Yeah, I'm from Belgium, Daika. Sadly, I couldn't learn anything new from that. Oof. So you already know everything? I'm sorry. Is there really nothing you didn't know? Because I would be surprised if you knew everything, then you might be able to take it over next year for me, so I don't need to do it. I made questionable life decisions. Oof. I showed the fractal simplex stuff slightly. It's all in the wiki though. There's some example comments on there. It's very similar to the actual simplex one. Like if you use the patterns, if you use the masks, it's a lot simpler because then you can just choose the percentage how much you mask and stuff. Luigi's abortion clinic. Your loss is our sauce. It's kind of dark. Okay. If there's nothing more, Mike, but weird than Discord Nitro. Yes. Just say 5, and there wouldn't be any controversy. I'm sorry, I'm too good. Wow. Thank you for the epic tools. You guys are welcome. And again, thanks to all the patrons for making this even possible. Yeah. Thanks you for the class, Arky. Thank you. I think I went over Loft a little bit too quickly, but if anyone needs a better explanation for it, there is actually a YouTube video about it. I'll put that YouTube video in the Discord, actually. It's made by Megray. Let me just Google it. Let me just put it in the event broadcast. There's a very good video to learn Loft. If you still have any questions, let me know. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Oh, that's a really nice Loft over there. It's like a horse saddle, pretty much. That's what it looks like, at least. Is there a way to make it that roof isn't a solid roof, but rather just the top, if you know what I mean? I can make that a flag. If you suggest it in the suggestion, if you do //suggest, you can vote on ideas there, and you can also like upvote ideas and add your own ones. I would highly suggest for everyone that is currently in here that wants certain tools to happen. I pretty much take all my ideas from there, so like I'll just post that in the event broadcast channel as well, and I'll also put my Patron in there as well. There we go. So be sure to give me feedback on Feedbacky. It's a very new website. It's great. So yeah. I think that's it. Good luck to everyone who's gonna play Cards Against Humanity. I think that's next. And then people are gonna play in Hypixel. Okay. Thank you everyone for attending. We have 69 viewers. Perfect way to end it. I like it. And okay. Now I need to stop recording.